What's up, guys? I am the Squirrel's Nuts, and today I'm going to bring you my opinions on Battlefield 3 Beta, which has just ended. I'll be happy to hear your thoughts. Please do post your comments at the end of this video. So yeah, I'm a big Battlefield fan. I love DICE as a company. They brought out the new Frostbite 2 engine in Battlefield 3, and what a piece of kit that is, eh? Huge destructive maps, which is what Battlefield is all about, isn't it? Let's face it. So let's talk about bugs. I think consoles bore the brunt of the problems in Battlefield 3. The client was obviously much older due to, I think, lead times. They have to submit these things to Microsoft and to Sony to get them certified and approved to go on the console, so that, you know, it doesn't brick your console, that kind of thing. It also meant, unfortunately, they couldn't actually patch it during the beta. So when we were playing this on console, we were actually playing something that, well, now is probably about 4 weeks old, I imagine. Whereas I don't think that happened on PC quite so much. They probably got to patch it right up until the beta, and maybe even during the beta they were patching the client. I'm not sure about that one. At times I found it pretty unplayable on PS3. I saw map glitches. I posted some videos myself about this. You know, people walking through the floors. You got people getting inside and underneath the maps. The kill cams went crazy. There was strange graphic problems going on. For me, though, some of the worst bugs that I saw were things like, and this applies to PC and console, there was one where your damage would be multiplied when you hit a moving target, which is a bit frustrating. You find yourself running across the map and suddenly you get one-shotted with absolutely no indication of being hit in the first place. There's nothing, you know, you couldn't suddenly go prone, so that could have been frustrating. Server latency issues. Now, I saw these quite early on during the beta, and I know that DICE came out and basically said the whole idea of the beta was to test the back-end servers could cope. I did notice the latency get a lot better as time went on. At first it was pretty bad. I mean, players were teleporting around the map. They weren't there when you were shooting them. You know, you'd shoot somebody and on your screen you're actually hitting them. And you're getting hit markers and all the rest of it, and then you die and they're on 100% health and you're thinking, what the hell? That's latency in action, that is. Squad management. There's been quite a bit of talk about this. Squad management was totally broken. You couldn't put a squad together. You couldn't join with friends. It would actually not even put you in the same squad. And your friend would often end up on the other team. Never mind, it's a different squad. And then the age-old blue screen bug, which I saw many times. You know, you'd get rezzed and you'd have this blurry blue screen. Sometimes you'd get it when you were deploying as well. You couldn't get rid of it, but super annoyingly, it would actually go away when you died. DICE have said they're going to fix these things, so we can only wait for that one. It was a beta after all. Let's talk about some of the game features. The map screen, so when you bring up the map itself during the game, I think that sucks. I mean, it's basically a slightly larger version of the minimap, which isn't a terribly great deal of use, I don't think. I never used it because it doesn't actually do anything useful for me. On the deployment screen, now on Bad Company 2, you'd get the deployment screen and you could see the entire map. You could see where the conquest nodes were in relation to each other. If you just lost one of them, you could work out which one to come to, and, you know, the nearest one kind of thing if you couldn't spawn on a teammate. Battlefield 3, no. You just basically choose between the different spawn points and it shows you a localized view, which I don't think that's terribly useful at all. Particularly when you're just learning a map, like as we all were. You know, Metro and Caspian Border were quite new, and I hadn't got a bleeding clue where to deploy. You know, it was all guesswork at the beginning. And I don't think that's a good thing. I kind of like the old map overview where you could see everything and choose that way. I thought that worked a lot better. Prone. Is it a good idea? What do you think? I think there's good and bad in prone. Without it, it's not realistic. You're a soldier, you can't lie down. That's ridiculous. It's good that they balanced it so that you couldn't, you can't just lie down and get up straight away. There's a movement, a delay when you get back up off the ground. On the other hand, prone promotes camping, especially amongst the snipers. I saw it a lot. So many snipers just lying down in bushes or lying down the face of a rock, which is even worse because when you get a kill cam, you really can't see where the heck they are. They put this lens flare thing in so that if they stay camped out too long and they point a gun at you, you get this kind of lens flare effect. That helps, but I don't think it's a full solution to the problem. All a sniper has to do, a smart sniper just needs to get up, move a few yards over, get in a different bush, lie down, and he'll reset the whole lens flare and he can camp out again. MCOM, the arming of MCOM. I really like the new rules. It was deeply annoying in Bad Company 2. You would arm the MCOM station and then run out of tickets before the bomb would actually blow up. That was really annoying. They've changed it. They've made it so that the defending team has to defuse it, even if the attackers run out of tickets. I think that's a great move. They've also made it so the MCOMs don't take any damage. So you can't actually, shell them and blow them up with helicopters. You have to go down there and arm the MCOM stations. Now that's probably for the better, but the flip side of that I've seen is the defending team putting C4 all over the MCOM station, and then the moment they hear the MCOM being planted, they detonate the C4, which kills obviously the attacker or anybody else nearby, and they can just run straight in and defuse it. I don't think there's an easy solution to that one, because the C4 would, in Bad Company 2, the C4 would have damaged the MCOM station, but now of course it doesn't. On the balance, though, I think the arming rules for MCOMs and the no damage rules, I think they work overall. That's a good improvement, I think. Guns, nice choice of weapons in Battlefield 3. The attachments, the customizations, absolutely great. I love the way that you have to play with a weapon in order to unlock its attachments, and the same thing with the vehicles. You have to get in that vehicle, be it a plane or a tank or a helicopter. You have to play it, put the hours in to unlock it to its complete potential. There's nothing bad in that. That's all good as far as I'm concerned. Vehicle repair. I don't like the way vehicle repair works in Battlefield 3. I prefer Bad Company 2. If you run up to a vehicle, it's kind of tricky to see if it needs repairing, unless it's sort of smoking or something obvious. But you run up to it and you get your repair tool out and you start repairing. All these blue sparks start going all over the place. It makes it very difficult to see what's going on. So you can't see what's around you. You can't really see how repaired the tank is or the vehicle is. It just makes it hard. You get this kind of blue circle which progresses around, but you've got all these blue sparks flying around, so you just can't see things. It's just not very clear, I don't think. Yeah, I hope they do something with that because it's a little bit naff, I think. Kits. Really like the change to the kits. They made the assault, the new medic, of course, brought in this support class. The recon class is a tremendously useful class to a squad now, and having the radio beacon means that you can insert back onto these massive maps very quickly, which just keeps the pressure up. It keeps the action going. That was a great move on DICE's part. Scoring. I love the new scoring system. It rewards you for all kinds of things. It rewards you properly when you do damage, so it seems to be based on the percentage of damage you've done to somebody. So you can take 90% damage out of somebody, and somebody else gets the final 10%, but you get rewarded. I think you'll get 90 points for that. You get points for spawning on you, suppression, assist, kills, capturing, healing, rezzing, repairing, ammo supply, spotting. It's brilliant. It makes Battlefield, basically. It means that we're not just getting rewarded for kill-death ratios and all this kind of thing. You're getting rewarded points for working and doing things for the team. There's an increased gravity drop in Battlefield 3, and you've got to aim quite high if you're shooting a few hundred yards away, shall we say. It really makes it so that it rewards the skilled player at the end of the day. If you're skilled with those guns, you will know the gravity drop and you can get your long-range kills, and that's good. Aircraft, jets, the joystick support wasn't working properly in beta for me, for a lot of people actually, so I had a mixed experience with the mouse. Helicopters seem quite slow moving, and come down quite easily, whereas the jets are much harder to kill. The anti-aircraft weapons, they lock on quite easily, but they don't seem to have much range. I shot a lot of planes and didn't actually take them down. The missile flew past them, or the plane just flew very, very high, and it didn't follow them anymore. Against helicopters, they're massively potent. Against planes, not so. I love the AA vehicles that are mobile in the game. I think they're a wonderful addition, and they can be a great lot of fun to play. Flashlights and lasers. Now, the lasers are okay, but flashlight attachments on guns, I think currently they're too powerful. Even worse, teammates put them on and they blind you, and it's just not helpful at all. That can be utterly annoying. Dark tunnels and metro flashlights are a good tactical advantage, but when I'm out in the sunny hills of Caspian border, you know, they're way too bright. They're too effective in daylight, and they're too effective at a distance, I think. They really need nerfing down. Leaving a game carries over a bad habit from Bad Company 2. You can't quit a game during loading. You can't quit during the deployment scheme. You can't quit during kill cam. If you want to quit the game, you have to deploy and then click quit. And if you're not quick enough and get killed again, you've got to watch the kill cam all over again. So, you know, seriously, DICE, come on. Can we have a fix to that? Let me quit the game. Battlefield, was it, you know, should it have had a beta? I mean, it's easy to comment in hindsight, isn't it? But I don't think it was ready, if I'm honest. I think it was a mixed bag. On console, I think it was a real problem. On PC, much better. Here's how I see things, okay? Metro map was probably a bad choice for a map. Why? Well, I understand DICE chose it because it wanted to test servers, but it just isn't Battlefield. The map is not Battlefield. It's a small map with no vehicles. It probably felt quite comfortable and familiar to COD players who came along to see what all the fuss was about. But that's the problem. This was DICE's real opportunity to convert players to Battlefield, to show them why Battlefield is different. But because of all the bugs, and especially on console, it totally failed to seize that opportunity. The Battlefield fans, it didn't feel like Battlefield at all. If you were lucky enough to play PC when Caspian Border opened up at the start and the end, then you really got to see Battlefield, and it was truly glorious. It really was. But on console, you just had 2 weeks of buggy Metro map with no fixes and no map pack updates, and that was a real disappointment. I think it was rushed onto console. I doubt it converted any COD players onto console over to BF. I think they'll probably go and buy COD after seeing the beta. It probably alienated existing BF fans on console who still haven't seen any tanks, aircraft, helicopters, and haven't seen the huge maps. They haven't seen Battlefield. On PC, it was a roaring success. On console, I think it was a fail. It probably did more harm than good on console. I know they wanted to test the servers, and it's a new engine and a lot of pressure on DICE, but the release quality just, it was not quite there, and it was never patched, and at times on console it was just unplayable. Having said all that, the BF3 beta has just ended. I'm going to miss it terribly. The next 2 weeks can't go quickly enough. I am the Squirrel's Nuts. These are my opinions. Do follow me on Twitter, subscribe to my channel for future Battlefield videos. Look forward to your comments, guys, and see you on the battlefield.